We all go through a difficult time in life, and there is always someone who provides us with what we need to make it through the day. There is always someone who provides us with emotional, mental, physical, or a spiritual need. I remember of the time when we were thrown out into the cold, unforgiving catacombs during the Afghan civil war. When death was imminent, a neighboring state opened its borders to many like us who were escaping death. The parachute opened was wide and comforting to us who were barely enduring cold, hunger, and life. There have been times when people knowingly or unknowingly provided us with what we needed to make it through the day. I remember when Mr. Reynolds equipped a refugee child labor with a language to voice his idea, when Miss Sultana built the confidence in me. Born of war, toughened by life, a refugee, I found a home in the friendship of people like Noshin and Ramisha and many more. They not only opened their arms and hearts for me, but they saw the light in me. They managed to break open my rigid being and help me discover the human in me that is kind and compassionate. You see, when somebody packs your parachute, they equip you to survive a possible crash. That and that alone can be the reason for hope that you see at the end of the tunnel. Let me tell you a story. Charles Plumb, he was a US Navy jet pilot in Vietnam. After 75 combat missions, his plane was destroyed by a missile. He ejected and parachuted into enemy's hands and spent 6 years as prisoner of war. He did survive the ordeal and then became very famous. He won acclaims and appreciations. One day he was sitting in a restaurant with his wife. A man on the other table was actually looking at him constantly and he was irritated. Then he came up to him and said, "You are Plumb. You flew jet fighters in Vietnam from aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk. You were shot down. How in the world did you know that?" asked Plumb. "I packed your parachute," the man replied. Plumb gasped in surprise and gratitude. The man then pumped his hand and said, "I guess it worked." Plumb assured him, "It sure did. If your chute hadn't worked, I wouldn't be here today." Plumb couldn't sleep the whole night. He kept thinking about this man. He wondered how he might have looked like or what he might have looked like in a Navy uniform. A white hat, a bibe in the back, a bell-bottom trouser. I wonder how many times I might have seen this man and not even said hello, good morning, or anything, because you see, I was a fighter and he was just a sailor. There are times in our lives that we miss the most important thing. We fail to say hello, please, thank you, or congratulations. Look at that person right in the eye. And as the year goes by and it's ending today, let's acknowledge everyone who packed your parachutes, who provided you or us with what we needed to make it through the day. The emotional support, the physical support, the mental support, the emotional support. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for packing my parachutes. And look out for all the parachutes that we are going to make. So folks, who's packing your parachute?